Hey everybody, it's Mike Peasall, pastor at Gateway Christian Center here in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. Today is Wednesday, September 17th, and this is Mike's Midweek Message. First of all, thank you for all the birthday wishes. My birthday was Sunday, and thank you for that. I changed last Wednesday. Last Wednesday was a crazy day for us. One of our grandchildren had to be rushed to the ER. She's fine now. But just a lot of things going on, air conditions and all this other stuff. I changed my midweek message last week in light of the young woman who was murdered on the light train. And then, literally an hour after I did my midweek message, that was when the issue with Charlie Kirk with his assassination began to take place, and I just sat here in my desk and just thought, man, what is going on? The way God works out things a lot of times for me is the midweek message that I had for today was from last week, and it was entitled "What If You Knew?" And where this comes from is we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We really don't. Quick story. I remember I was in college and I was home on a break or something like that, and my grandmother, my dad's mom, came by to visit. And I was in the house. I was, I'm sure I was watching something very important on those 4 channels that we had back then. But I did go to the window and I said, "Hey, Mom, how you doing?" And she said, "Oh, how are you?" And I had a really good relationship with my mom, but she was standing there on the outside of the house talking to my dad about something, and then she left. And then I went back to school, and not long after I got back to school was when I was notified that she had passed away in her sleep. Well, I've always thought, would it have killed me to have gotten up and gone out and given her a hug and just spent a few minutes talking to her about school or asking her how she was doing? What if I knew? What if I had known that, okay, this is probably the last time I'm going to see my grandmother? Would it have changed my behavior? I think it would have. I think if I would have known, okay, this is probably the last time you'll ever see her, I hopefully would go out and engage a little bit more. And so, Gene Mims was the vice president of Lifeway, and he said one time, and I've never forgotten it, he said, the opportunity of a lifetime is only good for the lifetime of that opportunity. It's the opportunity of a lifetime, but there is a limited opportunity to take that opportunity. There's a shelf life for every opportunity. So I just wanted to ask you today about what if you knew? And then, and like I said, an hour after I finished last week's midweek message, I saw the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And then we've all seen a lot of things that have gone on, both things that are just disgraceful and distasteful, and things that are very honoring. And I get the feeling that Charlie Kirk was one of those guys where he did have some idea that what he was doing and how he was doing it was actually something that could cost him his life eventually. So to answer my question, if I ask him, what if you knew, I think he was doing exactly what he thought he should be doing, exactly where he was supposed to be doing it, exactly in the way he thought he was supposed to be doing it. So there's a good example of, what if. But what if you knew that you're going to see somebody today and you're never going to see them again? How would you interact with them? What would you say? Would you want to get that last dig in, or would you want to be pleasant and kind? What if you knew that your season of earthly eternity was running out? Now, I know when we talk about Jesus and we talk about his second coming, even within the church, you have disagreements about what that looks like and what that means. Is there a rapture? Is there not a rapture? And all that other stuff. But most people in the church would agree that we are very close to whatever that event is going to be. For me, I believe it's the rapture of the church, and then 3.5 years of good times, and then 3.5 years of really, really bad times for the people who are left behind. That's my own personal doctrine. But either way, what if I knew that Jesus is coming back next week? What if I knew that? Would it affect the way that I invest my time? Would it affect the way that I spend time with my family, with my friends, in ministry? Or would I go, you know what, I'm good. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So, and if you would, well, Mike, but I don't really believe in the whole rapture thing and all that other stuff. Well, do you believe in death? Do you believe that you will die? And at some point you will die and stand before a judgment throne. And you'll be asked, why should I let you into heaven? And there'll be people who go, well, because I was born in America. Because I'm basically a good person. Well, because when you die, you go to heaven. That's just the deal. There are some people who say, well, because I've lived a really, really good life. I joined a church. I gave a lot of money. I went and knocked on 1,000 doors or something like that. Anything other than I'm here because of Jesus Christ and what he did on the cross. I admit that I'm a sinner. I believed in Jesus Christ, and I've confessed him with my mouth and with my life. That would be the only answer. So a little evangelism there, but get back to my original point. What if you knew this is the last week you got on earth, and then next week you're not going to be here? Would it affect the way that you live? Would it affect how you invest your life? So in James chapter 4, 13 and 14, come now, you who say today or tomorrow I will go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit. Yet you do not know that tomorrow what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Now, that's not saying that God doesn't value you. He values you hugely. But still, in the grand scheme of things, our time here on earth, even if we get the 120 years that's promised us in Genesis, it's only 120 years out of whatever. Then in 2 Corinthians 4, 16 through 18, it says, so we do not lose heart. Though our outer self is wasting away, our inner self is being renewed day by day. So yeah, the outer part, even when we try to take good care of ourselves and we go to the doctor and we exercise and we eat right, it's wasting away. But our inner self is renewed day by day. For this light momentary affliction is preparing us for an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison, as we look not to the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient, but the things that are unseen are eternal. You and I are investing in an eternal bank account, in an eternal account that will far outlive our physical beings. Then again in Colossians chapter 3, verses 1 through 4. If then we've been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden within Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. So, are there some things that you've left unsaid to certain people? It's like, yeah, eventually I'm going to get around to saying that. Stop putting it off. Have very short accounts with things that you need to say, or you need to forgive, or you need to ask for forgiveness, or you need to bless somebody. Those are really, really important things to do. Are there some things in your life you just know they're wrong? You know it's not what God has for you. It's not the best that he has for you. It's like, well, eventually, I'm going to do this right up until just stop. And then finally, have you made the effort to share the love of Jesus Christ with the special people in your life? I know that it can be very awkward. I know that it can be very, it might even hurt a little bit, because there's some people in your life who they don't want to hear anything about the gospel of Jesus Christ. But I encourage you to just make that one more offer, one more suggestion, one more presentation of a very simple God, that God is good. He loves us. He sent his son for us, and we need his son to bridge the gap between us and him. I just encourage you to do that. Jim Elliot, the missionary who was killed on the mission field, is famous for saying this, among other things: "He is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose." There are some things that you and I might have to lose when we decide we're going to live as if today's our last day. But there are so many things that we're going to gain, and that's kind of the important part of it. So I just hope that you'll have a great week, and continue to pray for the church. If you go to a church, pray for your pastor. I'm sure that they need it. And I pray you'll have a wonderful and blessed week. Bye.